Hi guys, welcome to another episode of My Flash Funding. And today I am incredibly excited because we have one of my Flash's biggest and most profitable traders. And essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to pick the brains and essentially see how he looks at the market and what sort of mindset tools or any techniques or strategies he can reveal to us. So, very excited. So, without any further ado, Jordan, I'll let you take the stage if you'd just like to
How's it going,
introduce
guys?
yourself.
Yeah, my name's Jordan. I've been trading for the past 3 years. Recently, as of recent, I mainly do funded accounts. I believe I'm one of the top paid members in my Flash Funding, if I'm not mistaken. I had multiple funded accounts. I've lost multiple funded accounts. It's like an up and down battle. But everything's been pretty good. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. 3 years of trading. I started off with option trading. I kind of did it during the whole pandemic. I think where like everyone kind of started. I stuck with it. I kept learning and I kept trying to like get my skill set on point. And then to where the point where I got to right now, where I'm actually profitable, where I have my own group and I'm able to teach my group and go further on with that.
Sounds amazing. And just so I know then, Jordan, how long were you an options trader for before you switched to becoming a prop firm trader?
So I was roughly an option trader for a year and a half to 2 years because while I was doing forex, I was still doing options.
Mm,
It could be sort of similar in a sense, but it's kind of different because you have contract size compared to the lot size. It's like two
mm,
different strategies and two different sets. You're mainly looking when I trade on forex, I'm looking at like the top companies like US30, Dow Jones, and stuff like that. But in stocks, you're just looking at one pair. You're looking at one
mm.
tick. So it took me a while to kind of learn that to get the gist of it. I'm not gonna tell you I was the best at it. I was pretty decent. I was actually profitable within the first year of me trading. I had other groups that I was a part of that kind of helped me with that mindset for that. And then I transitioned over to forex, and that was been like one of the hardest things is learning a whole different environment because forex is not what people assume it is. It's
Mm.
not something you could just come in and make $3,000, $4,000 in a day. Now you're gonna see more of a drawdown. You're gonna see negative. As to when you're doing option tradings, you're okay with losing the $300 that you're paying for a contract size.
Mm,
So
absolutely.
it's been a little tough. It's been in and out.
I think that's one of the biggest things, isn't it? When people start out trading as a beginner, a lot of the times you see people win a few trades in a row and they think they've got the gist of it. But they can't separate the difference between winning a few trades in a row and actually what it takes to become a consistent trader, I suppose, isn't it? And that kind of leads me on to my next question, I think, Jordan. So, what would be, in your opinion, what do you think in terms of qualities you would need to be a successful prop firm trader? Forget about just trading your own account for a second. What sort of things you need to pass an account, be consistently profitable while you've actually got a funded account?
So it could be really challenging when it comes to a prop firm account. Give me 1 sec. I'm sorry.
That's
I
right.
have a secret and I don't want it to ruin it. So yeah,
That's
back to the
right.
question. So when it comes to a prop firm, you gotta have a trading plan. You gotta have the consistency and the same discipline over and over. When you're on a winning streak, you gotta understand that the winning streak could always come to an end, but you gotta understand that it's about focusing within that. It doesn't need to come to an end if you keep seeing the markets correctly. Having one loss, two losses, having the proper risk management. You don't want to lose more than like 0.5% or 1% of your account. Mainly what I would do when it came to trading a prop firm, I've had I believe four prop firms with no, sorry, three accounts with my flash funding
Mm,
that were all funded. And one of the strategies that I primarily use was I would go for 100 points on US30. You find your order blocks, you find your Fibonacci levels, you make sure that structure you're going with the trend, and it's the discipline of taking the same trade over and over. You're gonna leave money on the table. Understand that that's okay. You can't take everything. You're
mm.
not here to have an overnight success. You're here to actually become profitable and take that money. So when I tell people, I usually like to tell them like, hey, if you see more than what your paycheck is, because half of us have a job, you should probably consider maybe taking those profits. But ideally, when you have a trading plan, you're always going to see the same profit over and over. You're going to use the same lot size. You're going to see the same profits, and you're going to risk the same amount. So that's when it comes to having the discipline and the consistency of the same setup over and over and over. That's the main important part when it comes to trading, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's really interesting what you're saying. And I suppose, when we speak about that, what was kind of your risk management techniques then going into that? Did your risk management change when you were taking challenges in comparison to when you were trading your own capital? Was your psychological mindset different to how you was when you were trading your own account?
Yeah. So when it comes to trading your personal, it's a little different, right? Because you don't mind risking a little more.
Mm,
You have more leverage. There's no rules. When it comes to a prop firm, you really want to respect the rules that they give you, right? It For those who have never traded their own personal capital, I think starting off with a prop firm would be one of the best things you could do because you're going to learn risk management. It's going to teach you. You're going to lose multiple accounts, but once you do get it, they're going to be big winners. And I'm telling you from experience, I've lost several accounts through different prop firms. Rules could be very challenging amongst the prop firms, but it's like my flash funding makes it really easy. You know, you gotta only make a 6%. If you have a 100K account, a 6% is only 6,000. Half of the time, some people see that at one trade. Well, they see it in like 2 days.
mm,
I know that I passed the funded account within a week. I think it was a week, and to the live part on phase one and phase two. And it all depends, as like we're saying, when it comes to the risk management, you want to make sure you're seeing the same thing over and over. A prop firm, I only risk a 1% on a prop firm. As to when I'm trading my own live, I could kind of leave it open with a stop loss, understanding that it's going to go into my direction. I don't
mm.
got to risk so much. The difference between a prop firm and your live is that your prop firm, you don't want to risk more than your daily drawdown. It could be, I think it's 4% if I'm not mistaken, some are
Yeah.
5. One of the things I always tell my students is if you're seeing 4 to 5% of drawdown, you're not doing something correct.
Mm,
There's no reason why you have to go so low in drawdown. And again, either you're over leveraging or you're holding your SLs longer than your TPs. And that's one of the things I say. That's like one of the most important things when people hold their SLs longer than the TP because they're like, oh, it could shoot up, it could shoot up. No, get out. You know, a good trader understands when it's time to get out. And that comes with the risk management. You set, 50 pips, 50 points, however you want to call it. You take your SLs, make sure to 0.5%. Your lot size has to be adequate with your actual account size because you don't want it to be over leveraged. You don't want to put, I don't know, like a 30 lot on on US30 on a 100K account.
mm.
100 points would be already $3,000. You know,
I think it's really interesting when you say, when you talk about sticking to the rules and so forth, and how if you were to be a prop firm trader to begin with, in comparison to your own money, you'd probably be a lot further in your journey. I find that really interesting because that kind of goes on to my next question of when you are trading in a prop firm, or when you're doing it, sorry, I should say, when you're doing it with real money, it's much easier to essentially revenge trade when you're doing it with your real money because you're the one setting your own rules, I suppose, aren't you?
correct.
And how does that kind of differ to being in a prop firm where you do have a 4% daily drawdown? When was it that you actually called it a day? I suppose, was it after one
Okay.
trade, two trades?
So that all has to do with the discipline of a person, right? I think revenge trading is one of the biggest factors of trading.
Mm,
Revenge trading it has to do with a lot of psychology
mm,
purposes, and you guys got to understand that it's really important to understand your psychological mind before you can actually progress with trading. If you don't understand yourself as a person or who you are, sometimes you're trying to be a scalper, but maybe you're a swing trader, or sometimes you're a swing trader but you're scalping. You know, so that really does kind of affect how you want to see the market or how you can just walk away from the trades. Um, Half of the times when you see a loss, you gotta understand if you're in the wrong trade, you lost your 1% or your 0.5%. You gotta tell yourself, okay, I'm done.
mm,
I'm done. You gotta be a good loser. You don't want to be a bad loser because then a bad loser is always trying to get in and get in and get in. Just call it a day. Setups are always going to be presented either it's going to be the same day or the next day. Setups are always going to be presented. If it's going to be the same day, be the person to miss it out. Miss out on the trade so you don't risk more of your capital. It's the same thing on the live account. You can do the same mistake on the live account. Yeah, I can hold longer, but is that really the trade I'm supposed to be in? No. Many big traders, they could hold it for a longer period of time and then just call it a day. That's not who we are. we're not there. We're funded traders trying to make profit. So when it comes to walking away, just if you lost, go walk away. Go to the gym, go for a walk, go watch a TV show if you want, or go back and study a book, but don't go back on the markets. Because if
Yeah,
you go back on the markets, you're going to see every possible setup. You're going to try to take every setup possible. You're not going to have the right mindset. You're going to kind of come in already like, damn, I lost. I got to make it back. That's the mindset you don't want to have. You want to be able to say, okay, I lost today. That wasn't my trade setup. We'll come back tomorrow. You know?
absolutely. That's a really good point. And I suppose, thinking of that, that kind of leads me on to this bit now, which is what would you say was the hardest aspect of trying to get funded? And I suppose what I really want to know is how did you overcome it, especially for people who are failing currently?
So it's a little challenging, right? Because you got to understand that it's more the skill set that you have as a trader. If you don't have the skill set to trade, then you shouldn't be trading.
Mm,
You know, when it comes to passing a funded account, it's having the discipline, the consistency over and over and over. You're going to see a lot of people say it, and that's just there's no real system to what trading is. There's a system for any type of style you want to trade, but it's as a person what benefits you the most. You know, if scalping, 50 points to 100 points is your way to do it on indices, that's what you got to stick to.
mm,
The markets will humble you very, very quickly. The markets, the moment you're no longer following your trading plan, you're gonna get chewed up. So kind of like back to the question, it's a funded account. You gotta have the discipline to break out of the curse. What we call it.
yeah.
Um, you just gotta constantly be going over and over and over. You gotta understand that you're gonna lose. If you are not okay with losing, don't trade. It's not for you. But if you're okay with losing and being like, okay, this is a setup I see. You're seeing all your confluencies line up. You're following your plan, your system. You're gonna be fine. Breaking out of the curse is just having the discipline, the consistency of seeing the same setups over and over and over. You first got to practice the setups before you get into it.
Yeah.
Don't just buy an account and be like, yeah, I'm gonna pass this right now and make it happen. No, really practice the skill set. Really enhance your skill set. Focus on the skill set before you do anything else. You know, one of the things that I teach my members in my group that I would teach them beforehand was in order for you guys to make profits, you got to consistently see the same setup over and over and over. A lot of the times, most of the students that I have now, they're actually funded. Some of them are funded with my flash funding. They were able to see the 100 points on a day-to-day basis.
Mm,
When you're able to see 100 points, you can take your profit and walk away. And it's life-changing money. That's what I would call life-changing money. A lot of the people don't make, I mean, let's say on a 100K account, let's say you make, on a regular lot size, on a 10 lot, that's a $10 per point. You're looking
mm,
for 100 points. That's $1,000 a day for 100 points, right? That's a lot. That
yeah.
times 5, you're looking at 5,000. That's people's paychecks every month,
Yeah.
and that's what people got to understand. Like, you got to be humble in the market. If you're not humble and you're not taking that, you're not going to be able to make the profits you want and get out of the funk of always losing.
That's actually a really good point because that kind of leads me on to my next bit, which is quite a big thing, which I think a lot of traders really suffer with, and I think it goes under the carpet quite easily, and that's euphoria, and you know the difference between enjoying a win essentially
Right.
momentarily and not getting overconfident and turning that into euphoria. How do you go about separating those emotions between, okay, you just want to trade or you might be on a winning streak, and but still keeping that level head, still keeping that focused mindset so that it doesn't turn into arrogance and overconfidence?
So that has to do with the person. It has to do with who you are as a person. When you're winning, you got to understand that a win is the same thing as a loss. They're both the same thing. It's a setup. It either goes your way or it doesn't. The euphoria effect, if you guys want, I mean, I could kind of give you guys a gist of it. If you guys go on Google and search up the euphoria chart, there's a perfect chart that explains it. And literally every cryptocurrency looks just like it, which is amazing because you understand what euphoria is. When you're getting euphoria is the top. You're like, yes, I just made it. I just banked. Don't be that person. You want to be the person that consistently sees the same setups over and over, and you're always going to be winning. You don't want to be the person to be like, yeah, I'm up here. I'm not going to sell. I'm not going to do this. And then what happens? You come back down to disbelief. Don't be the person of disbelief. If you want to continue with the euphoria effect, pretend euphoria doesn't exist. Pretend in the sense of don't be in the euphoria stage. Don't tell yourself, damn, I'm on a streak. That's the moment you ruin it. Tell yourself, okay, I'm making progress. It's happening. It's working, you know, and continue the progress. The same thing that got you to that euphoria effect is the same thing you got to continue on a day-to-day basis to maintain that euphoria. And by euphoria, like I don't even want to call it euphoria because it's very vague, but when it comes to that feeling, it's the grind, you know, keep the grind going. Don't look at like don't settle. Don't be comfortable with the fact that you just made all that money and then you're just gonna lose. And I'm telling you from experience because it's happened to most of the best traders. You get on a winning streak, and then the moment you get off, you're like, damn, you know, I messed up because I started seeing it like this. Another thing is also don't get greedy. If you're on the euphoria effect, don't get greedy. You're gonna be like, yeah, I want more money. So what do you start doing? More lot sizes, more lot sizes. No. The moment you come out of that trading plan, the moment you start adding more lot sizes you're not supposed to, the market will humble you. Believe it or not, if you want to or not, you guys are gonna understand what I'm saying once it happens.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And I think that's an absolute great answer because I think that's probably something that a lot of people do really struggle with, but then at the same time they don't want to admit that they're struggling with it because
Yeah,
it's probably it's like a pride thing as well, isn't it? It's like a pride and ego
yeah,
thing
it's like
for a lot of people. So um just moving on then, obviously so you're funded. I'm still going back to the start of your career. You're funded, you're with My Flash Funding. When was the point that you stopped work and you went from working full time to full time trader? And what were your, if so, how did that affect you psychologically? Because I know a lot of people, when they make trading their number one sole thing and go to a full time trader, it can have, sabotaging effects. So how was that for you?
so I think this would be a perfect learning curve for people.
Mm,
Um so here's the cool part. I still have a job. I'll
nice.
tell you that much. So I attempted doing the full-time trading for
Mm,
5 months and it took a big psychological toll on me. I currently work as an aviation inspector for a big company. I've been doing it for the past 7 years, you know, so it could be really challenging. I understand what it is to work and trade. One of the things I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell it to you guys, and it's the first time I've always thought about this moment, right? I actually got let go from jobs for trading, right?
wow.
Because I would be trading on the job, and that's what I took serious. It's how bad do you want it? You know,
Mm,
how bad do you really want to make it happen and stuff like that. I don't recommend you guys to do that if you guys have a job. Right now, I do have a job, but what I do is I actually work in the afternoons. So now I'm actually able to trade in the morning. So I made that sacrifice. Everyone always wants to work the morning, you know, you get out early, whatever. I didn't care for that. My main priority is trading. I want to be able to provide that to the students and stuff like that. It's still an income that's coming in. It also helps my psychology. I have an income coming in that pays bills that I have. Anything extra from my flash fundings or from my personal trading, that's all kind of building a capital.
mm,
Now, one of the best things I could tell the people that are currently going to watch this and are working, you guys need to find a window. Find a window where you guys understand your pair moves. Find your setups, and that's your window. You guys can go. I don't know, maybe take a bathroom break, or maybe take your break. Maybe your job allows you to do that, and that's the window you got to find your setups. That's the window that's gonna make you the money. That's the discipline you're gonna have as a trader. I think that is very, very important because when it came to working in the morning, it becomes difficult. But then again, now I have my own group where we do live trading in the morning, and I'm noticing that most of the group members have a job in the morning, you know, and I'll do one-on-one sessions with them because I do coaching, and I would see them at work on the call still learning, and multiple of them. So one of the things that I want to say is that transition could be also very stressful. We could talk about that the transition because it happened to me. When I got let go, I took the opportunity to go to 5 months without working. In aviation, it's kind of easy to get a job in aviation in the sense that if you already have the skill set, you're gonna know people, so you could get in. But I was like, let me pull the trigger. Let me see how it goes. And psychologically, it's very, very stressful. If you don't have any other income coming in, I think you guys need to first set yourself up. Make sure you have no debt. Make sure you guys don't have any car payments, anything like that, where on a monthly basis you got to pay. Just do like the simple stuff like your mortgage, you know. If you have a mortgage or your rent, make sure you can set that money aside for a whole year so you don't have to worry about it and you can focus that whole year. That would be the best. Like, this is not financial advice, but that would be the best thing I can tell you. Save up money, right? Put it aside, enough money to pay your bills for 1 to 2 years when you're trading, right? And then you guys can kind of settle at home and take it to the next level. Now you don't have to worry about having to pay bills, so your psychology stays on point. But now you got to also understand that while you're at home now, you're going to be able to see the market a lot more than you were before. I've seen where that can mess up some people, right? Because instead of just glancing at it and being able to take the trade, and you're only seeing one setup, as to now you can see everything. I think that's really important that you guys understand that having a job could be a good thing, you know? Yeah. It could be a blessing to you. But yeah, I feel like you guys just need to understand, anyone that's going to be watching this, if you have a job, remain in it, make sure everything is settled for you, make sure you have everything you need before you decide to make that jump to full-time trading. Once you have the skill set, make sure your skill set is correct. Make sure it's on point. Once you have the skill set, I promise you, you're gonna know when it's time to be like, "Hey, I'm out of here," right? Because that's the moment that's your okay, I just made it moment, and that's when you gotta understand, like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to head. You know, this is where I'm supposed to go. You made it this far, where you have the discipline, you have the consistency, you see the same setup, you have an average income coming in every month. You did it for maybe 6 months, and you see the same income coming in. Now you kind of could play around and see where you're at. You know?
I think that's really interesting because obviously most traders, when they, especially when they first look at trading, the dream is to get out of their 9 to 5 and to become a full-time trader. That's, and then have financial
Right.
freedom and stuff like that. So I find it really interesting that you look at it from a different perspective of, have everything you need first, or even stay in a job just so that it's not your sole income. I think that's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to ask, because obviously, you cracked it completely with my flash. Why a prop firm? That's kind of really what I want to know.
Okay.
And most importantly, why my flash? What was it about them
Okay.
that separated you or separated them from others?
All right. So we can start off. So why prop firms? Most of us don't have capital, right? In order for us to make capital, my flash funding gives you the benefit to be able to trade with them, and you can make some capital. Um, I don't know if we're gonna have this conversation later, but I'll just say it right now. I've approximately made, I believe I'm around 16,000
Wow.
within a month or two of trading with my flash funding since I got funded to the payouts and etc. And something that we need to understand and come to a realization is that that's capital. You know, we've seen many traders flip, 1,000, 10,000, and stuff like that. You got to understand that your time is slowly but surely it will come. It's little by little when you're trading. In order for me to get my capital, right? You guys understand that if you don't have the capital to trade, you could do it through a prop firm. You know, I chose my flash funding due to the fact that it's only a 6% virtual profit.
Mm.
So you don't have to go so crazy with it. Yes, you do have less of a daily loss, but if you have the right trading plan, the consistency, you can make that happen, right? And at the same time, they pay out the first payout is in the month. I know it might change. I don't know. I think I could say that because he announced it. And you go on weekly. As of right now, the customer service that I've had from my flash funding has been one of the best. I know that they're just starting off, so I know later on it could get a little more hectic. But as of right now, they're really good.
Yeah.
They're amazing to me. They've been really nice to me. They've been helpful. I've had situations with the accounts, and they've been, they'll give me another one or whatever it is. But why I chose my flash funding is the environment is amazing. The CEO, what he stands for as a person, if you guys ever have a chance to talk to him about the type of person he is, he's really cool people. You know, he's a minimalist. He doesn't. He's really for the traders. He's not for the money. He knows money will come eventually. It's gonna happen, but it's inevitable. It's what it is owning a business, right? But it's about him actually wanting to help traders like myself, that work a full-time job, have a skill set, don't have the capital, but are allowed now to make that capital. And I've already gotten 3 payouts. So they're paying, they're actually paying out. And I know several people are actually getting their payouts as well. So that's one of the things that I want you guys to like kind of take in as well. Whoever's seen the video is prop firms. You got to also know which one to choose. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say names or anything, but as of right now, My Flash Funding has been one of the best ones that I've been a part of. I've been a part of various of them. They always have some hidden rules or whatever. My Flash Funding is very straightforward. Hey, this is what we have. This is what we offer. And they actually hear the traders. They want to listen to what we think, and they want to make exceptions and progress in their company with what we believe should happen. And I think that's amazing.
Mm.
That's one of the best things I can hear as a trader,
And Joel, what's the biggest? I know we touched on it briefly, but what's the biggest payout you've had with my flash funding to date so
Awesome.
far?
So my recent payout, my biggest payout was this past Monday. I believe Monday was, I don't even remember the date. What are we on, Thursday? I don't remember the date. I can't find it. I don't know if we could get an accurate date just so that we know for the video.
But to be fair, whichever date is
Well,
absolutely fine. It doesn't.
so I just recently had one of my biggest payouts, and one of the biggest payouts I just had was I had made a 5% on a 200K account, which is around 10,000,
Yeah.
and it was an 85 split plus the refund. It was around 9.2K, so 9,267, I think it was, to be accurate. It's been one of the biggest payouts I've had from them. I also have a pending one coming in next week, and it should be another 8,000. I made a 100K account go up to 10% over a time span of 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So it's very, it's there.
Life changing.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
really.
It is life changing. And I know this sounds like a bit of a silly question, but most traders want to know because we can only dream of it. What did you spend it on? What was some of the things that you treated yourself to?
Oh, so actually, I haven't bought anything.
Have you not?
I'm not. I mean, I think the only thing I did was take a small trip to Key West. I'm based in Miami, so I
Oh
took a
wow.
small trip to Key West, and that's pretty much it. I didn't waste more than like a thousand, I think. It was for me and my partner. But to be honest, I'm not the type to spend it on stuff like that. I don't think
Mm,
it's that time. I think right now it's mainly just building a capital. I feel like that's the purpose of a funded account, is to build capital. Yes, you can
yeah,
pay bills and do whatever you guys want with it, but if you guys don't have the capital to be able to have in the bank just in case something happens, you can't buy assets, you can't do none of that if you don't
of
have that
course.
secured. So yeah, I
And
don't I don't plan on spending on anything fancy yet. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, that's fine. To be fair, I think you'd be slightly different to me as soon as I get my first payout. I'll probably blow. Oh no, I'm joking. We did touch on it briefly. Obviously, this is probably one of the main things that certainly caught my eye as I was looking around at different prop firms. The 6% profit target. How
Yeah.
does that differ to you, and what kind of differences did it make to you when you did start trading with them? Because I'm assuming you may have touched on one or two other different prop firms previously, or and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So how was that different in comparison to the 8 to 10% that we normally see on prop firms?
So here's the cool part. Like here's the drift of everything. I've been in various prop firms or whatever. I've passed some. I've failed some. I've had some before they switched, servers. I've lost accounts and stuff like that, and from the past. So I've gone through a fair share of experience, and I think one of the reasons why I kind of stuck with my flash funding is, like we said, the 6%. There, you guys, it's a new prop firm. I took advantage of it. I'm able to be the first person. I was the first person to get a payout
Mm,
from my flash funding history, and I've been the biggest payout as of right now. It's not a lot, it's not big, but it's a payout. You know, um, from my understanding, it's what really helps me is that 6%. You could do it in a day if you're a good trader, or you could do it within the week. And I feel like within the week, just taking the right risk management, risking 0.5% and going for the same amount over and over is really good for you. You
mm.
know, let's be honest. We don't see that on a day-to-day basis. It's not normal. So I think one of the things that I love about the 6% is I was able to pass phase one and phase two within the week.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
and I was able to get the live account Friday, and I think by Monday I was already trading.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a crazy journey, that's for sure.
It's happened so quickly as well for you as
Yeah,
well. That's
yeah,
probably
it
one of the
has.
most amazing things.
I
It's been
mean,
a real shift.
to go back on the 6%, on
Mm,
the one step accounts, I mean on the two-step accounts, I've gotten three funded accounts that were all funded live, and I've gotten a payout from each one in a time span of since you guys opened till now.
wow.
So I don't remember exactly when you guys opened, but since they opened until now. So I feel like it's been like 2 months, I think, already.
Mm,
And I think that's amazing, to be able to say that that was something that's able to be managed, make money, and a pretty good amount of money, an absurd amount of money, 16 is a lot.
yeah,
Um,
life changing.
and that's profit share. That's not what I made in the account. That's so like my share. That's what I got.
Mm,
Just imagine how much it was before that, you know? Just imagine how much
absolutely.
it was before that. But yeah, so that's pretty much, you know, it's life
And
changing. Same.
I suppose, just leading on to that, then it's probably a question that a lot of people want to know. What is the feeling like when you do get that payout? That especially that first one. What's that like? Did that change you emotionally, or was your skill set so developed by that point that you were kind of emotionless? How did you kind of react to it?
I don't, I, you know, I like to be excited, but I've gone through so much with prop firms, and we've gone through such a big struggle that when I got it, it could feel like it felt like a relief in a sense.
Mm,
But in the same sense, I was like, I gotta continue. I can't be comfortable with what I got because I'm not, you just settle. And that's not the whole objective of trading. Like the famous saying, Kobe said, the job's not done. But one of the things that I felt like everyone asks me and everyone gets excited, like, man, that's a lot. This is good. I'm like, yeah, it is a lot. You're right. It is a lot. More will come, you know? It's not about the fact that, yeah, right now it's a lot. It's not a time to celebrate. It's the fact that now you have a sense that, okay, my strategy works. I am now disciplined. I now have the ability to make this type of money without having to do it in my job. So that's really what made like went through my head. I was like, okay, we made it. It's more of a relief, right? Because when you get a payout, think about it. You get your refund, right? So whatever you pay for, you get it back. Plus whatever you make on top of it, you get it back. Now what are you trading?
yeah.
Risk free. Did I lose money? No, right? So that's the beauty behind it. If you want, you could buy another funded account, and grow it again. I remember I had maxed out with my flash funding. I currently lost like two accounts, so I'm like, it's okay, you know. So I'm okay with that.
Sounds amazing. And in terms of your strategy, then, because I know we've touched on a lot, but we've not necessarily touched on your individual strategy. Does it or has it differed since you started trading with My Flash Funding? Did you change anything when you were taking prop firm challenges and so forth, or has your strategy always been the same? And last question, what is your strategy?
Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, there's a lot of people that ask me. I know one of the things when I'm trading, I'm trying to make it very quickly right now. One of the things is everyone asks me, "What's my strategy? How did I do it?" and stuff like that. Did I change
Mm,
anything? I haven't changed anything from how I used to trade. I am known to be the 1%. They used to call me Mister 1% or the 100 point guy. I go for 100 points on US30. US30 could give you from 100 to 300 points within the day. I know that 100 points I can always catch.
mm,
I feel like if I get greedy, I'm a scalper. I like to get my 100 points within a day. There's always a setup that you can find. Uh, Pretty much going based on my strategy is very straightforward. It has to do a lot with discipline and consistency. So when I'm trading my charts, I always try to find a high and a low point within the day, within the 30-minute time frame on US30. Usually I draw my fibs from high to low, depending the trend. I always try to go with the trend. Sometimes you're gonna get more volatility trades than others. That's normal. It's part of trading. One of the things I like to do is wait for a fib level rejection. 88.6 or a 78.6 rejection. There's various times where we could get a 61.8. It's a little harder to see. I'm very cautious with that one because I know that one could just be to fake out people. But I try to find my 100 point strategy within those fib levels. You got to understand what direction your 4 hour is going. You got to understand what the daily is looking like and which way it's trying to head. It's very straightforward. If your previous dailies are bullish, and you're within that candle of the previous bullish candle, possible chance you're going to go bullish. It's
Yeah.
not going to go bearish. Don't try to go against the trend. That's how you get chewed up. If you're going with the trend and the trade didn't go in your direction, you have to be okay with that, because you followed all your rules and you went with the trend of the market. There's nothing wrong with that. So one of the things I can say is my trading strategy is just 100 points. You find your 100 points. I call it points because US30 goes by points. Some people would say pips. 100 points, which I think is equivalent to like 10,000 pips, if I'm not mistaken. I don't like to do that because who believes 10,000 pips? You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
it's absurd. So I just go for 100 points. I can tell you right now, I'm currently in a trade. We're currently at
Good
the
man.
100 points.
Wow.
We're probably gonna close out right now to not mess up
What?
anything.
Well, I tell you what, that's probably the best way to end it, on a not just on a winning comment, but on a winning trade. So,
I want to trade, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Jordan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time and your effort doing all of this. And I really do appreciate it. And it's so good to get the insights of a profitable funded trader, someone that most people don't necessarily see that often, but actually
Right.
nice that we can actually see it now. So I really do appreciate your time and everything, mate. All right. Cheers.